The screaming headline said, PM caught in riot. But in fact it wasn't like that at all. Julia Gillard had absolutely nothing to do with it. She was simply an innocent bystander. Well, what the demonstrators were after was not her but Tony Abbott. And the Aboriginals were desperate to get at Tony Abbott because he had apparently suggested that their 40-year-old tent embassy outside the old Parliament House in Canberra had passed its use-by date. They took this to mean that Tony Abbott would like to tear it down, and they were very angry. Now, in fact, Tony Abbott does want to tear it down. He's said so many times to friends and acquaintances that he'd like to see it dismantled and removed. But that's not quite what he had said this week. He'd simply said that he thought it was time to move on. However, that did not placate the Aboriginals, who made a lot of noise. They were never really threatening in any way, but they were making their displeasure felt. This is interesting because normally Aboriginal Australians are fairly restrained and polite in their criticisms of the government or opposition or any politicians for that matter. Unlike shock jocks like Alan Jones, who openly incite violence and mayhem against politicians they don't like, the Aborigines tend to hold back. But it is clear that there are now deep divisions within the Aboriginal movement itself between what might be called the reconciliationists and the radical core who will settle for nothing less than sovereignty. It was this latter group who besieged the politicians in Canberra on Thursday, and they've been disowned by the former group, the reconciliationists, which means, of course, that any chance of getting a unanimous voice from the Aboriginal community on reconciliation, on changes to the Constitution, on just about anything else, is still a long way away. There's a great deal of work to be done before we can really sing that we are all Australians and that we all deserve to rejoice. I'm Mungo MacCallum, walking towards beer.